and the men who rode horses won the West. Violence and deeds of valor took place on horseback. Helping a sheriff and his horse who were too old to fight took more than a knowledge of medicine. Rex Allen stars as the Frontier Doctor.
Oldest, creepiest law in the county. When you gonna turn in that 10 badge of yours and retire, old man? You and that old horse of yours ought to take a trip to the glue factory. Neither one of you can get your feet off of the ground. Them boys. Let's see if he can. See?
Let them young hoodlums get away with it, Sheriff?
Oh, they're just feeling their oats. I've got some serious business waiting for me inside.
I want to talk to one of the brothers. Get him. Sure.
Good. Tell him I'll be right out. Sheriff, the old coot can smell a game half across the county.
Before we get through, he'll wish he hadn't smelled this one. You two boys cash your chips in outside.
All set?
Yeah, we'll go on with the game. Deal 'em.
Oh, Sheriff, nice to see you. What can I do for you?
You know why I'm here. You also know the county law against gambling.
There's nothing but a penny ante game going on in the back room.
Your friendly, crooked penny ante game has cost a lot of folks their homes and ranches, Avery. This time, I'm going to close you up. Break it up and come with me. You're under arrest.
You shouldn't come in here, old man. This time you've bitten off more than you can chew. Let me have a couple.
You're coming peacefully, you're going to make trouble.
Trouble for who, old man? You?
So that's the way you want it. Somebody run tell Dr. Baxter to come over here and fix this fellow up. Avery, you and Sharp are coming along with me. I sent your brother Sear to the penitentiary for a long stretch, and I'm going to do my best to have you join him. Now, come on, get moving. All of you clear out and go home. This place is closed.
He wasn't shot? Let's get out of here.
No. Nobody can prove those gunmen were working for us. We'll stay and fight it out. Hello, you old rebel.
Oh, Doctor, I'm so glad you're here.
What's the matter? You having trouble with your patient?
Trouble's not the word for it.
Look at old Rebel. He's so stiff and sore he can't hardly move. You know, he hasn't been getting enough exercise since Jeff had that stroke.
Don't ever let Uncle Jeff hear you say that. Be all he'd need to climb on him that very minute.
Just a matter of old age, Nancy.
I know. That's what Uncle Jeff says about himself, too. It's more than that, isn't it, Doctor?
Well, your uncle suffered a minor cerebral hemorrhage. In plain language, a stroke.
Isn't that a heart attack?
No, not at all. His heart couldn't be better.
Why can't he use his right hand?
You see, Nancy, a stroke occurs when a small blood vessel ruptures. In Jeff's case, it caused a pressure on that part of the brain governing the nerves to his right arm.
Won't he ever use it again?
It's possible, but that's all I can say at present. The best thing for him now is to see that he gets plenty of rest and try to keep his spirits up. In cases like Jeff's, hopelessness and despair are sometimes a lot worse than the actual physical ailment.
Nancy! You heard me! Where are my boots? Nancy!
I had to hide his boots to keep him in the house.
It's awful nice of you to come over and take care of him.
Hello, Doc.
Such a fuss, Uncle Jeff.
Well, what do you expect? There's no sense keeping me here like this.
Sit down now.
I'm tired of all this fiddle-faddle, Bill. There's nothing wrong with me, and you know it.
What's bothering you?
Well, now that Sharp and Avery are out on bail, they'll run a wide-open saloon. The streets won't be a decent place for women and children to be on. They won't waste a day getting this county organized the way they want it.
And you think it's up to you to stop them, huh?
Well, who else is there to do it? They respect my gun, Bill. They know I can back up anything I say. They know there ain't a professional gunslinger can outdraw me. I don't want to see 30 years of making Elkton County a fit and decent place to live and go up and smoke. If I ain't around to stop them, there'll be wide-open gambling all over this territory. Saloons staying open on Sunday. Sunday's God's day, Bill. It's more than just keeping man's laws.
Bring his boots, Nancy. Go ahead. He wants to wear them.
What a sneaky place to hide them.
Here, put them on. Take them with the right hand. I'm sorry, Jeff, but it may be quite a while before we get the muscles back to work in that right arm, but it can be done if you'll work with me.
Nobody would have to know, would they? I couldn't fool you, but who else has to find out?
It wouldn't be a secret very long. The moment some gun-crazy kid guessed the truth, he'd draw on you, just so he could boast that he'd outshot the fastest man with a gun west of San Antonio.
How long is a condition like this apt to last?
Maybe 6 weeks, maybe 6 months, maybe forever. The sooner you follow my orders and get some rest, the sooner we'll know. Help him move his arm through all the arcs and massage it several times a day.
In the meantime, what happens to the law in Elkton County?
You're going to need some help on that score, too, Jeff. I'll round up some able-bodied men who will volunteer to be your permanent deputies. Would you see me to the door, Nancy?
Yes, Doc.
Oh, Doc, old Rebel's been all stove up with rheumatism lately. Will you take a look at him when you go out? I hope there's something you can do for him.
I'll look him over, Jeff. See you tomorrow. I knew that as long as the old sheriff worried about things in town, it would slow up his recovery. So I decided to try to line up some deputy peace officers right away. It came as a surprise to me that nobody wanted the job. It was always one excuse or another. And I didn't discover the real reason for the reluctance until I ran across Frank Saunders. Oh, Frank.
Hiya, Doc.
Knowing how you stand for everything the sheriff does, I figured you wouldn't mind helping him out for a few days as his deputy, just till he gets to feeling better.
I might have. Yesterday, but not today.
What's happened today to make you change your mind?
I guess you haven't seen the papers, have you?
No.
Let me read you something. Winding up a 5-year sentence, Sear Middleton will be free to go home Thursday. It is expected he will join his 2 brothers in Rising Springs. Young Middleton once considered himself pretty fast with a gun, but that was before Sheriff Turner of Elkton County taught him differently and sent him on his 5-year course in good behavior through Leavenworth. That's the gist of it.
Well, if Sear Middleton has a grudge with anybody, it's the sheriff. What are you afraid of?
Sear's a killer. Anybody crossing his path wearing a badge is just asking for it.
I'm sorry you feel that way about it, Frank. I just don't know what I'm going to tell Jeff. Mind if I keep that paper?
It's all yours. See you around, Doc.
I made a special trip back to tell Nancy to be sure and keep the news about Sear Middleton from Jeff. Even though he hadn't seen the paper, the old sheriff was up and dressed. Are you out of your mind? What are you doing up and around?
I made up my mind I'm going back to work.
Do you think you're the only man in the county that can wear a badge, Jeff?
You mean you found somebody willing to take the job as deputy?
Well, if I have, will you promise to stay home and let him handle things for a while?
Well, if I think he's a good enough man to carry out a deputy's duties, I will. Who is he?
You're looking at him.
So you couldn't get one of them to volunteer, hmm? They're all too busy, scared of their own shadows.
That's not the point. Am I or am I not good enough to be your deputy?
You know you are, Bill. You're worth 100 of them others. Only you got a full-time job already.
That's my problem. Will you swear me in?
Well, it's got to be done right. Help me up, Nancy.
Can't you do it sitting down?
No, sir. Not the way I feel about it. Nancy, you run out in the kitchen and get that gun belt the citizens gave me last Christmas. And there's a badge in the drawer. Now, Bill, if you'll just stand right over there by Old Glory.
I never fully realized until now how much the old sheriff's job meant to him. His life had been dedicated to upholding the laws of the land. This was not a ceremony to be taken lightly. Not long after I was a deputy sheriff, I found myself faced with a problem. It seems that Avery and Sharp Middleton, encouraged by the news of their brother's release from prison, had established wide-open gambling at their place. And this fine committee of indignant townsmen were on their way to protest to Sheriff Turner.
Sheriff Turner's a sick man.
We know that, but at least he can tell us what to do.
Well, he told me what to do. Now, why don't you boys go on back to town and leave the sheriff out of this? Now, do as I say. He left me in full charge. He deputized me.
Get up, Jude. This is something. Wait till Sear gets here. Then we'll really get going.
We'll make it all right. It's a big game going in the back room. We'd better sit in.
Hey, Doc. I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
Where's Avery?
In the back room, Doc.
Well, hello, Doc.
Well, Doc, killed any patients lately? You have to close up, Avery. You're breaking the law.
Huh. For a minute you sounded like old Blue-Nosed Turner himself.
How is the old windbag? Think he'll live?
He'll live, but I'm not so sure how many of you will unless you break this up.
What's the matter with you anyway? This ain't none of your business.
It is now.
Sharp. Look at this.
I promised Jeff Turner he'd have nothing to worry about till he got to feeling better. And that's the way it's going to be. On your feet.
Maybe this crack means it.
Stand up, Sharp. You're coming with me.
All right, Doc. You lost your gun. Still gonna take us in?
Keep this place closed, and I won't bring any charges against either one of you.
Yeah, it's a deal, Doc. We'll close up. Sorry, boys, we're out of business.
Well, look who's here.
Sid.
Boy, hi.
Thanks for the money you sent. It came in handy.
We got big plans, boy, and you're part of them.
You look great.
Hey. What's this? Come on, boys. Drinks are on me.
The Middleton brothers lost no time in letting the whole town know that Sear was back and what their attitude was going to be from now on. It was no surprise when they made a call on me, and it was definitely not a social one.
My brothers tell me you're the law here, Doc. Well, stick to doctrine and keep signs like that off our place, or they'll be needing another sawbones around here. Did you hear what I said?
Take your hand off of me.
I think Doc gets the idea, Sear. We're going back into business on a big scale, Doc. Not only here, but in every town in the county. Thought you ought to know how things stood.
I've got some calls to make. I should be back in town around 4 o'clock. When I get back, I want that place of yours still closed.
And if it ain't?
And I'll have to put all 3 of you in jail. Now get out. Get out!
Sure, Doc. We got business elsewhere.
Uncle Jeff's gone. He's taken old Rebel. I'm afraid of what he intends to do.
What are you afraid of, Nancy?
He's been so despondent. He took his gun with him. He's been talking about doing away with the old horse, but I'm afraid he won't stop there.
It's about all I can do for you, Frank. Come back in a couple of days. Close my bag, will you, Nancy?
Yes, sir.
Ride out, see if we can find him.
Place like this that you shot at that rabbit years ago. Down there threw me. I guess we was both stronger and quicker then. Can't do nothing for myself anymore. Ain't no point hanging around either. We rode a lot of trails together. That's why we're gonna stay together. You understand, old boy, don't you? Besides, I'll be coming right along after you. I'll need a good horse to ride up there, and you wouldn't want me riding any other critter, would you? Yeah. Found another lump of sugar. You just stand there and eat it.
Shots came from over the hill.
Doctor, there were 2 of them. Oh.
Nancy! Come up here a minute.
Good old boy, you're the best old horse that ever lived. Doggone your buttons if you didn't have me jump.
Uncle, thank heaven. The shots.
Shots? Oh, I was standing right over there by that bush, and I had my gun out like this. And old Reb, he charged right at me, and he knocked me down. There was a great big rattlesnake right at my feet. Yeah, he'd have got me, too, if Reb hadn't knocked me out of the way. Good old Reb, you're a good old horse.
Give us quite a scare, Jeff.
Well, I'm sorry if Rebel and me caused anybody any trouble. I thought it was best.
I never figured you for a quitter.
Well, I wasn't exactly quitting.
Call it whatever you want to. But I think you better go on back home with Nancy and try to get some rest. If I didn't have an important call to make, I'd tell you what I really think.
Thank you so much.
You think you can manage alone?
Yes.
It's no use, Nancy. You better go on home. You know why you heard 2 shots just now?
No.
I missed the rattler the first time.
I wasn't going to tell you this, but I think you ought to know. Sear Middleton's back in town.
Doc, the Middleton brothers say you're to stay away from their end of town.
They've opened the saloon?
Gambling's been going on since noon.
Doc's back.
I knew I couldn't outshoot Sear Middleton. I wondered what I was trying to prove.
Doc, you can't go down there.
I can't let him get away with it either, Frank.
But if it was anybody but Sear Middleton...
One more minute.
He's crazier than I thought.
It won't be anything for long.
Doc.
I began to worry about some of my patients. Did I have any right as the only doctor in 50 miles to match myself against an expert gunslinger? Whatever the answer, I knew I had to keep going.
Hold it, Doc. I'm gonna count 3. Either you draw and start shooting, or you can turn around and walk back. You can have your choice. 1, 2. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves wasting a good man like Doc on this kind of work. Now get down there and clean out the rest of them.
Well, Doc, I guess I can still kill a rat with my left hand as good as I can with my right.
This is one time when I'm sure glad a patient didn't follow orders.
To uphold the laws of the land to the very best of your ability. To be honest and trustworthy at all times. And to carry out your duties in a brave and forthright manner. Give me the badges, Nancy.
When he heard about Sear Middleton, nothing could stop him.
Notice which hand I'm using, Bill?
You're doing all right, Jeff.
Think I'm doing all right. You ought to see old Rebel. Since we've been giving him that tonic you sent over. Kicking his heels like a colt. Come on over here and take a look at him.
I wouldn't believe it. And he was so lame the other day out in the hills.
Lame, nothing. I was just too upset to notice. That wasn't rheumatism, it was a rock in his foot. Why don't you come over for supper tonight?
About 6.
I'll be there. With Sear Middleton dead and his 2 brothers in jail for running an illegal gambling parlor and resisting arrest, things were quiet once more. But a valuable lesson had been learned. That maintaining law and justice in a free country is the responsibility of everyone, not just one man.